To Canberra's social media ban for under-16s that is now underway. Joining us live this morning, the Shadow Communications Minister Melissa McIntosh. Melissa, good to see you this morning. So time will tell whether it's successful or not. There'll no doubt be teething issues, but where are you at with all of it this morning?
I would love to be super optimistic and say, go kids, get out on your bike and, live your life. But I think that's being too simplistic here. You know that we, support the ban. It was a Peter Dutton policy in the first place. And I've also spoken to you about, my questions around the execution going into December 10, which is today, and risks to, people's identification. Digital ID is a big issue. Kids migrating across to other platforms. But today is the day. I think now I'll be just concentrating on ensuring that the government does the right thing by Australian kids. I would like to see the PM get up and say that he'll invest money in mental health services for young people. A lot of psychologists are now saying kids are going to have a tough time. Of course they are. You've got kids, it's going to be a hard time, particularly over Christmas. So some investment into youth mental health service I think will be really important. And I don't know, I was a bit surprised to hear today, Pete, that the Prime Minister is being aired into every school across the country. That's a bit of an unusual step for the PM to be beaming across, schools to announce this policy. But right. We'll keep holding the government to account.
Right. So what are the chances of success here? I mean, there are workarounds. Kids will find a way. I mean, I've been saying this all along, but something's better than nothing. I mean, can't they just get VPNs, doctor images, etc.? I'm
just trying to be hopeful today because I've been accused of dog whistling. So I actually agree with you. I want it to work. I just see so many gaps. Kids have already migrated across. The minister herself, when she's actually made appearances over the last couple of weeks, has been loosening her language, saying be patient, it's going to be messy, it's not going to work, we're going to do a review in 2 years. So what actually does constitute success? I guess that's probably my next question is, what is a successful policy outcome when it comes to banning kids? Are there less kids online? Are less kids getting bullied? We need to have a measurement in place.
Good question. We'll see how that ends up. Anyway, on to your opponent, Annika Wells. So she's self-reported her expenses to the watchdog now. Does that just give herself political cover today as she gets out and sells her social media ban?
Oh, that would be a bit sceptical, wouldn't it? Of course it is. She's been hiding away for some time now, and we've all said, and I've been questioned on my own use of family reunion, which is fair enough, but it's when it's excessive. So it's when it goes above and beyond what people would, constitute as reuniting with your family. And for the minister
leaving a
herself,
comp car for 7 hours. Is that excessive?
Leaving your comp car 7 hours while you're going and watching the tennis, that's not acceptable. And going overseas and having an expensive dinner and then going, oh, but I fell asleep, well, that's not acceptable either. So I think she does need to, you can go through the process of the auditing, which is important, but she's done this multiple times. Right. So I think the Prime Minister actually needs to take a stand on this.
Is anything going to come of this audit?
Well, do you think that the Labor Party would allow her to have an audit if something was going to come of it? I don't know. Again, I'm being sceptical. I think there actually needs to be change. The Prime Minister was asked a question today about it and he sort of brushed it away and said, but it's independent. Well, things aren't going to change unless we make things change. So I'm very up for having a look at family reunion. I'll be even as bolshy, and I probably won't have any friends left in politics, to say even maybe drop it and let's look at another way, because we can't keep going through this where Australians go, we hate politicians because you're all just ripping us off. Well, when things like this happen, that's pretty fair enough. So let's look at the rules. The Prime Minister should come out and say that.
Well, that's the point, isn't it? Where do you draw the line? Because we want families to stay together. You guys are so busy. And you've got to see your kids, you've got to see your partners. You've got to do that because that's just important. But, where's the line where you start taking the mickey?
Well, taking the mickey and the boundaries, and when you say you're in the guidelines, they're so broad. And the guidelines do allow things like, you know, what Annika has done and going to the tennis and all those sorts of things. So until the guidelines change, this is going to keep happening.
Now
the Prime Minister's so
Yeah, sorry, Melissa. I mean, now you've got Greens, you've got Independents. Fatima Payment, she's racked up a $120,000 bill. Liberals, including yourself, who've been caught up in the dragnet that you just referred to. So does this feel like it's a matter of urgency, or do you think this just kind of goes away after Christmas?
Well, I don't want to boast myself, Pete, but pretty much most politicians are in hiding right now, and I've been happy to be up front in front of the camera and talk about my own expenses, and then to question the process and to say, well, yeah, things do need to change. So when you are seeing hundreds of thousands of dollars being spent, when you are, doing fairy dances in confetti at the football, this can't continue, because we'll get to this time next year again and the media will be having some downtime and we'll scroll through and we'll be here all over again. So yes, it's time to do a proper review, and the Prime Minister needs to accept that needs to happen as well.
Do you agree that Annika Wells should stand aside whilst this audit is taking place?
I actually think that she's done multiple things that would constitute her standing aside. Her leaving a post during a 000 crisis. Yesterday we found out there was another death, and her chief of staff, her staffer knew about it back in September, and we only just found out about it yesterday. Her going off to New York during that time, all these expenses. There's many things that I could, critique the Minister for Communications on, and I think the Prime Minister really needs to answer that question, because he's not showing much leadership in this space, unless that's how he accepts that all his ministers behave.
Right, but you still think she should stand aside while this happens?
Well, I think, as I said, she should stand aside for a number of reasons, not just this issue. I don't think she's a particularly good minister. She's not caring for Australian people. She's not protecting them. The 000 issue, I think, is the top one, and people are dying and nothing is being done. So, yeah, but for multiple reasons, not just this one.
Well, Melissa McIntosh, it's good to see you as always. We'll chat again soon.